This morning, I want to talk to you guys about max loss, max loss, and so really how helpful it is, how it's going to help day traders, and what it is. All right, so max loss is obviously a rule set that each trader would place on their rules or on their trade behavior for the max amount of loss they will withstand per trade and per day. Okay? Max loss is the max amount of loss you will accept per trade and per day. Now, you may say to yourself, well, how can I govern that, KD, if I'm not looking at my P&L? That's fine. You're going to check your P&L when you close your, obviously, your contracts. You're not going to watch your P&L while you're inside, your trades. All right, so you should be able to do some quick math and understand, if you're down or up on a trade, right? So the idea here is you can't watch your P&L when you trade. It affects your ability to trade and long hold and etc. All right. But what you can do is set some parameters for maximum loss. Now, what does this look like? Well, if a trader has an account of $10,000, right, and they're using a DAC, which means they've got a position size of about $1,000, right, then max loss suggests that they're going to set a threshold of a max amount that they're willing to lose. So if you're in a position of 1,000, personally, I wouldn't want to lose the full position. So I would put the max loss at like 20% max, right? That's just me, right? If I'm in a trade. So what does that mean? It means I don't want to see a drawdown deeper than about 20%, personally. That's just me. I can withstand a little bit more depending on the context of the day. Because my stops are not based on percentages, they're based on context of the day and my levels and volume, volatility, etc. So with that being said, you want to do that per trade and per day. So let's say you do it per trade and you take a loss of $200. You get into another trade, you take a loss of $200. You get into another trade, you take a loss of $200. Well, you're going to have to make a decision on how many losing trades and how much money or percentage-wise you're going to be willing to lose, right? And this dovetails nicely with our conversation that I was talking about the other day, or just today actually, about traders not being prepared for a loss. You have to be reasonable with yourself and understand you're not perfect, you're not special, there's nothing super incredible about you when it comes to the market. The market doesn't care that your mother told you, how special you were. The market doesn't care about all those old trophies you have in your childhood room. What the market respects is the patient and prepared. So you have to be prepared for a loss. I'm going to say it again. The market respects and the market only rewards the patient and prepared. Part of being prepared is having a stop loss threshold, not just a digital and mental, but an actual max loss value for the day. So you're going to say to yourself, okay, if I lose 4 trades in a row or today, I'm done. If I lose 2 trades in a row, I'm done. If I lose 2 trades in the day, whatever your threshold is, okay? If I have more than 20% drawdown on a trade, I'm done. If my position size is 10%, if I'm using the DAC, as KD and the Wealth Wells teach inside of our Discord, and I suffer, 20%, this means I could have 5 trades would equal the risk of 1 trade, right? 5 losses at 20% would equal the total risk of 1 trade, right? Which means that my account would now be down 10% for end of the day. So my trading account. So you could look at it that way and you could reason to yourself, man, if I'm taking 5 losses in a row, that's too many and there's something wrong. If you're taking a loss, there's something wrong. So the 3 things you want to do when it comes to max loss. Number 1, set a max loss trade account. A max loss trade threshold, meaning If I lose this amount of trades in a day, I am done for the day. I do not trade. I will not execute another trade. I may watch the market or not. I may just go for a walk. I may step away. I may go read a book. I may go practice. I may go in the lab. Whatever. I'm not going to trade anymore. I've hit my threshold. So for some traders, that could be 3. For some traders, it could be 2. Other traders, it could be a little bit more if your trade frequency is high. All right? That's what you could do. Okay, that's max loss for your trade count. The second is max loss for your drawdown. Now, there are times you hear me say, I'm out of this trade. I don't want to suffer any drawdown, or I don't want to sit through this or sit through that, right? Okay, this is not to say that the trade isn't still good. This is not to say that the hold isn't still good. This is not to say that the trade won't continue and move on. This is to say that I know I am approaching my max loss threshold per trade in this specific trade. Therefore, I'm going to say, you know what? I got to cut it. Now, it could happen where the trade reverses and then it starts to go in profit right after you get out. Guess what? Get back in the trade. Don't cry over spilled milk, as the saying goes. Just, all right, you got a poor entry, right? The penalty for a poor entry is respecting your max loss and getting out. The penalty for a poor entry is not, let me just see what's going to happen here, and now I'm down 30 and 40 and 50%. No. The penalty for a poor entry is you're stopped out. That's it. That's the penalty. The penalty is not you lose all your money. The penalty is not Russian roulette. The penalty is not a gamble. You can better deal with and handle losses if you have a plan. And a major part of the plan is, number one, using the DAC. How much risk are you going to put on to start? Number two, having a plan for the loss called a max loss threshold. The max loss threshold should span contracts. This is the maximum amount of contracts. This is the maximum amount of trades. This is the maximum amount of drawdown I'm going to withstand per trade. And then it will have something tied to it, meaning what action when you take when you hit your max. Give yourself a penalty, practice penalty, right? Give yourself a practice penalty when you do hit your loss or stop loss or something. So what does that mean? All right. For some traders I've helped in the past, I tell them, hey, you can't trade. You can't take another trade for 15 minutes. That's your penalty. You're forced to just watch. You can trade, but when you hit your first max loss, you can't trade. When you hit your second max loss, you're done. So sometimes I help traders to break it up, right? You got 4 losses in a day at a 15 or 10% drawdown. All right, you're trading, 3 to 5 DT, whatever it is. I don't know, right? Whatever your heart's desire, right? But you need to make sure that your risk to reward is there, right? Your DTE is appropriate, right? But so, when you're trading, you may break it up. You may say, well, you know what? I'm going to give myself, for the morning session, I'm going to give myself 6 trades. And if I lose 2 trades for the morning session, I'm done. Period. I'm done. I'm going to give myself 6 trades for the morning session. And if I have a drawdown of more than 10, 15, 20%, I'm getting stopped out. That also equals a losing trade. All right? I'm done. Twice. That can only happen twice. Right? This means that I can still have 4 winners and be profitable or not accept the loss that day, just from the morning session. Right? And if I do hit my stop loss based on my entries, right? 2 things could happen. All right. After two trades, I am going to, practice. I'm going to go and paper trade for 15 minutes for an hour, because there's something wrong with my ability to read the market today. Something may be off mentally. Something's going on with me, right? All right. If I hit my max loss threshold, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take 15 minutes. I got to get away from this. I'll keep KD in my ear. I'll still listen to the Discord. We'll talk, whatever, but I can't watch something's off. Something's going on. If I, take, a loss and I hit my max threshold, you know what? I'm going to go, maybe I journal. I write it down. I start to take 15 minutes and journal. So those are the two parameters, right? Max loss for your drawdown, max loss for your daily limit. Now here's max loss for the week. And you may not like this, but it will make you an incredible trader. It has done it. It has worked for me, and it has worked for some of the best traders in the world. There's a max loss on the week, meaning, all right, if I got an account of 10K, right, and I took some losses yesterday, and I hit my max loss threshold, and I stopped. I did all my parameters. I journaled. I did all that cool stuff. All right, then I did good the following day. I did good. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Then I did good the next day. That's 3 days. Okay, good. 1 day bad, 2 days good. I'm doing good. I'm green for the week. Although I did hit my max loss threshold on Monday. We'll call it Monday. Well, come Thursday, if Thursday comes around and you are, all right, give me a second here. I'm monitoring a trade. If Thursday comes around and you are still green, but you have a red day. Well, guess what you just did? You cannot trade Friday. You can't. You're done. That's how it works. You're done. All right? Why? Because you hit your max loss threshold for the week. You may say, I'm going to give myself 2 days. You may say, I'm going to give myself a few days. You may say, something to that effect. Whatever the case is. And that's it. You're done for the week. Your penalty is not add more, still risk it, still trade Friday. No, the penalty is you hit your loss, your max loss, and you cannot live trade that day. And you should probably use a practice as a penalty, meaning I'm still going to trade that day. I still get up. I still do my whole routine. But you know what? I got a paper trade today. Or your penalty could be, you know what? Today I've got to significantly reduce my size, right? Okay. So we're trading live right now too, guys. I'm going to post this. This was a great trade for me to work. I sat through some very, very unnecessary and long pain with this trade. It is significantly in profit now, and I am going to continue to just trail this thing. But I just wanted to, and I'm going to post it in the Discord so you can see it, right? And I've been in this trade since the call out. So, and that's because I did not believe we would go too aggressive to the upside there. So I don't want to, I'm speaking in the middle of this, of our discussion here, but I want you to know that there are max losses that I have too. And I'm going to show you some of the max losses that I have, right? For my trades, right? And say, okay, he can withstand a drawdown of, 10 points on the futures, or I can withstand a drawdown of 20, 30%, depending. I don't like to go that deep on options, but you get what I'm saying, right? My intention is to get in the trade for this thing to break and for it to move, right? So I can a lot of times have my max loss pretty tight. And I'm okay with accepting a 2% or a 5% loss and then waiting 3 minutes, boom, and getting right back in the trade at a better entry. I'm okay with that because I know the very next trade, I'll make up that little bit of commission, that little bit of fee, whatever. I'll make it up. No problem. All right. So, no problem. So just a little something to help you guys understand max loss. There's a few components to it. 3 primary. Max loss on your drawdown. How much are you going to allow this thing to draw down when you're in a trade? Max loss on your actual profit, right? Or rather a contract or a trade count, right? So drawdown is the profit, then trade count. All right, how many trades can I lose today? And then max loss on the week. right? How many red days can I have this week? You're not going to trade a whole week at at 5 red days. What? Something's wrong. Get training. You can't do that. You can't do that. That's not sustainable. You cannot do it. You can't do it, right? It's not sustainable. So what you should do is set these parameters before you trade. You don't have to, get walloped. You don't have to, just fly by the seat of your pants. You can actually learn and earn at the same time, especially in the wealth wells, but you can set parameters. Now, if you think about this Discord, we encourage best practices and consistency. I help traders to focus on the micro and the macro side of trading so that you drill down. In the beginning, I know you're not going to come out of everyday green. I know that, but I expect you to. I want you to. I'm gearing you and helping you to see how you can do it. I'm coming out green. Whatever I got to do. I've jokingly said this before. I will cut off my hand before I come out the day red because I like to govern my trades day by day. I like to make sure every day I'm dialed in so that it guarantees I come out of the week and the month green, right? Have I had red days in the past? Of course, yes. That's how I got to this point of understanding, man, if I just dial in a little deeper on a micro level, trade for trade, and I follow a strict game plan, yet being flexible to the market, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Then what if I broke the day into sessions? What if I broke the day into sessions and I said, okay, there's 3 sessions to the day. And if I give myself X amount of trades per session and apply a max loss and a trade frequency and a trade threshold per session, that's going to help me even more. Have you ever heard me say, you know what? I'm a little high in my trade count and it's only 10:30, right? 11 o'clock. Have you heard me say that before? Of course you have. Because I am following a checklist, a pad right here on the side with me as I trade. I am writing right here. Sometimes you guys can hear me writing. And sometimes you can hear me say, okay, that'll make it to my journal. Because every trade is an exercise. It's not a game. This isn't luck. This isn't chance. Every trade is an exercise. In order to treat a trade like an exercise, you've got to have rules and parameters. There's a proper way to use exercise equipment in the gym. The same is true in the market. There's a proper way to execute a trade. It's not just about, I'm going to make money every trade. I'm going to take it to my level every trade. That's it. Yes, that's it. However, you want to make sure that you have contingencies in place because you're not going to win every trade. Because you're not going to win every trade, you would be foolish not to have a plan when you lose. In fact, the first thing, if I could go all the way back, before I learned anything about the market, I would have liked someone to tell me, hey, before you learn how to win, you need to learn how to lose. I'm going to say it again. Before you learn how to win, you need to learn how to lose. In fact, that'll be the theme of this discussion. Learn how to lose. We're not talking about the mental side just yet. We're talking about raw technicals. How do I manage a loss and plan for it? The first thing is you need to understand you're going to take a loss. And so I see so many traders, and if we're being honest, you know this is true. Raise your hand if this has happened to you. Be honest now. It's just us kicking it. How many people listening to this right now has spent more time focusing on how to win in the market than understanding and planning for a loss? Raise your hand. Come on, tell the truth. Don't lie. Come on now. How many people more time working and focusing, and you go through those lagging indicators, which I don't use and you know you shouldn't. Then you try to supply and demand mumbo jumbo, which isn't true. Then you start trying to pattern trade. No, wrong. And then you're working on all this stuff. You spend years trying to work on, oh man, how to win. And nobody taught you how to lose. Nobody taught you how to say, you know what? You're going to take a loss. You'll make a lot of money if you just learn how to manage your losses and just take profit and capitalize on your wins. because the losses are going to come, right? So how many of you guys in the Discord have seen me take a loss at least a few times a week? Let me see some more hands. Have you seen me take a loss at least a few times a week? Right? I mean, it's there. You can see it. Yes. Yes. All right. So I take the loss. Like, that's not a big deal. But how can I just move past it so fast and still crush this thing? Because I have a max loss plan. I have a max loss plan. I know, right? Now, the other day, Tuesday, right? Tuesday, February 14th, $126,000, profit in that day. 126 by 1040, 100,000. Now, typically, I don't do six figures in the morning, by the morning. That's not common. I'm telling you right now, there's nothing to gloat about. No, not at all. That's just, honestly, half of that, as you know, I posted that. That's from one trade, half of, and then there's about a series of other trades in there, about 5 other trades in there. Okay. Some you get 10K, 18K, 6K, 2K, 3K, and then the runners just, man, cooked to 20. That put me well over 100K. So, all right, that's cool. That's cool. But you know what? When I have days like that, I have a max profit rule as well. I have a max profit rule as well. I say, you know what? Now, it just so happened the next day I had some doctor's appointments and things like that. I had a life. And I wanted to trade, but I had a life. Well, okay, got to take care of yourself. And my wife is on me. I love what I do. And that's a problem with people who are hyper-focused. When you love what you do, sometimes you're just imbalanced, right? So you have to be reminded, she'll stay on me. You got to do it. Come on. So I had to go to the doctor. But if I didn't go to the doctor, and you guys have heard me say this, I've even given the advice. How many of you guys, let me see your hands again. How many of you have heard me say and speak to someone and give someone advice that if they had an incredible day, like especially when you hit your 5-figure days, you've seen people hit their 5-figure days in the Discord, you've seen them. And what do I tell you the next day? Come on, guys. What do I tell you for those who've hit the five figures? What do I tell you? Yes. I tell you to size down, take a break, don't trade or do something different. Just why? Because you got to have rule sets. You're human. We're human. There's not one person, not even me, that's superhuman. Now, you guys may be saying, I see some messages you're saying, you lose and never get rattled. That's one main things I pay attention to. Listen, you know why I don't get rattled? It's because I have a max loss strategy system, and it includes the DAC. It includes thresholds. It includes drawdown. It includes all of that stuff. And I stick to it. And if I don't believe, I don't really believe we're going to move and we're going to go past this or with that or whatever, that's the only time I'll be flexible with it. I have to really look at the market and say, I believe we're coming back to here. But that's a dangerous way of trading. So it would have to be something, market sentiment, volume, volatility, price action, all these things will have to align to say, you know what, this area here, you're gonna return to this area, and you're gonna return to this area within the hour. I like to. That's what I like. I'm not talking about holding a position negative all day. That's not what we do. But if you get into a trade and the trade reverses on, or it doesn't break immediately, and it's about 5 minutes that's gone by, I'm okay with sitting through that. If we're close to my area where I can see volume shifting, right? Case in point, trade I took this morning, right? It went into profit, but it didn't go to the area I thought it would go until, obviously, just a moment or so ago. So I had to sit through, and I snapshotted all the pain so you guys can see. I sat through, it went into profit a little bit. I sat through some losses, some losing period, only for it to come back. And then once I got the bigger move, I grabbed it right off of my price target there of 4131. So, it's just it's a matter of knowing yourself and setting parameters. But this you can't just trade and expect to win and put the energy into winning, and you think you're going to win because you put so much energy. You have no safety measures in place. Your only safety measure that you likely have given thought to is, okay, once I feel uncomfortable, once I see too much is going on, I'm out. That's not the time to make a decision. That's not the time to say, I'm out this trade because I just feel uncomfortable, or with the drawdown, or it was a bad trade. That's not the time. The time to make the decision is before you get into a trade. So here's a question to you. What is the number one question you should be asking yourself right before and while you are in a trade? What's the number one question? You know the answer. Let me see someone say it. Come on. You know the answer. Where are we going? All right. So here's the next question. It's time to elevate. If you don't go, if you're not going to your destination, what is the next question you should be asking yourself, right? What is my max loss? Has the trade changed? What am I willing to accept for risk here? And if you have a plan, you don't even have to think about it. You just, boom, it kicks right in. All right, this is what we're doing here, and I'm out, right? And you rinse and repeat. This is a conversation about max loss. And the idea is to help you develop a framework and spend in this year, I want you to spend equal amount of time managing and planning for losses as you do trying to improve your skills to win. Spend equal amount of time understanding, strategizing on how to plan for a loss, the same as you would put into winning. You want to get your mindset as the same as mine or other great traders and even better than mine? You want to be able to move through these losses and not be rattled and see the next move and take it, make your money back immediately, and then keep rolling? If you want to get to that level, you have to robotically practice and understand how to handle losses, because you're not going to win every time. But the problem is when people accept the loss, they get shell-shocked and they miss the next day. They miss the next move. So I want to help you. All right. Quick conversation on max losses. We've given some tips. Let's recap. What is a max loss? A max loss is the rule set and parameters that you put in place when you have suffered too many losses in multiple categories. The first category is drawdown. When your trade per trade goes too much against you, it could be 20%, 10%, 15%, 30%, whatever that is a loss. You've got to cut it. That's a stop loss. The second one is trade count. I'm trading X amount of trades for the day. When I lose this amount of trades, I do this. I'm stopping for the day, or I journal, or I paper trade, or I do whatever. That's the penalty. The third one is max loss days. I got a red day today. Okay, guess what? You got one more red day and you're done for the week. You're paper trading. You're not going to not trade. You have to trade. But you know what? We're not risking any more capital. Those are three elements that you set for max loss. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I'll see you for the backside of the day.